9/11 War Room, a weekly roundtable discussion that takes place every Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in at 911warroom.com.
Here we go. Welcome to the 9/11 War Room. My name is Gene.
My name is Sandra. Today is Sunday, October 19th, and episode 205.
First news story I have is really the only one catching national attention. This is on the Hill, Jewish Insider. Mamdani distances himself from Hasan Piker's 9/11 comments at mayoral debate. The Hill, I guess the Jewish Insider covered it. The Hill covered it. I have a clip here. I'm just going to play a minute of it. Cuomo attacks him, and he makes a shot back at Cuomo. Here we go.
Assemblyman will not denounce Hamas. The assemblyman will not denounce Hasan Piker, who said America deserved 9/11. The assemblyman just said in his response, well, it depends on occupation. That is code, meaning that Israel does not have a right to exist as a Jewish state, which he has never acknowledged. That is from the river to the sea. That's why he won't denounce globalize the intifada, which means kill all Jews.
Let's give Mr. Mamdani a chance to respond to that.
I want to be very clear. The occupation is a reference to international law and the violation of it, which Mr. Cuomo has no regard for since he signed up to be Benjamin Netanyahu's legal defense team during the course of this genocide. And I find the comments that Hasan made on 9/11 to be objectionable and reprehensible. And I also think that part of the reason why Democrats are in the situation that we are in, of being a permanent minority in this country, is we are looking only to speak to journalists and streamers and Americans with whom we agree of every single thing that they say. We need to take the case to every person, and I'm happy to do that, which is why I was on Fox News yesterday talking about how I wish it was more like NASCAR, so we could see all the billionaires who are sponsoring you right on your suit jacket.
Melissa has another
We're going to turn it to Sally, actually.
Yeah, actually,
There it is. There's the shot. Man, yes. Both sides have their own issues. So Mamdani distances himself from the comments by Piker that we deserve 9/11. I'm not a fan of his ideology, Mamdani, but there he is. That's what he said. That's the only thing they really came up in the 9/11 news as far as corporate level. Down in alternative 9/11 news, we have AE 9/11 Truth in review of the Dawn of Truth seminar. They had Jimmy Dore on, and they published it separately. So you can check out Jimmy Dore on censorship, conspiracy, and Building 7. So Craig McKee, Andy Steele sit down with comedian podcaster Jimmy Dore to rip into weaponization of the term conspiracy theorist, how algorithms are used to wall off dissent, and why World Trade Center 7 still demands real answers. Dore called out COVID narrative enforcers, self-censorship, and the deep state barriers that keep hard questions from being addressed on mainstream airwaves, arguing that open platforms and fearless creators are key to breaking the blackout. He also this is important, also sees a younger generation less bound by 9/11 taboos and more willing to follow the evidence. So yeah, we do definitely need to break through with the younger crowds, but that's up on AE's website, the Jimmy Dore section of the Dawn of Truth seminar. Also in 9/11 Truth Movement level news, please forgive me, the computer is just, wow. All right, Richard Gage, whoops, I closed something. So this is on, I accidentally closed it. Richard Gage 9/11, if you go there, he reposted the Covert Action Magazine article by Kristen Gasparini titled Chronicle of a Collapse Foretold, the Paradox of World Trade Center 7 and the 9/11 Narrative. Richard does a nice job because when he goes through the article, he provides a lot of images and things to go with it, more than, well, no, those were all of them. But it's a repost on Richard's site. Let me see if I could just do that real quick. Right there. Top article. There it is. Chronicle of a Collapse Foretold. So check it out, richardgage911.org. And also the last 30 seconds by John Cole and 3 isolated clips from the Fetzer Gage debate. Check that out as well. All right. I'm not going to have a whole lot of news on the level.
Luke has his hand up. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
just get through because I'm almost done with the news, and we could just open up to everybody. Boston 9/11 Truth. They got a new website. Check it out at boston911truth.org. They're still working through some little things, but ultimately, great look on the new site. The last interview they had was this past Thursday. Craig McKee and Dr.
Paul Zaremka.
Paul Zaremka. Thank you. I didn't know that Paul had written a book called The Hidden 9/11 something. Forgive me, I forgot the name of the title already.
Craig's here. He might.
Hidden History of 9/11 is
Thank
called.
you.
He didn't write it. He was the editor of it, so it featured. He had an essay in there, but there were many different essays, including one by David Ray Griffin and a bunch of others. So he was the editor of that, which is very well worth having if anybody wants to pick it up.
What?
Yeah, I did order it. So if you guys want to check it out, boston911truth.org. The website's not up, but if you go to rumble.com/boston911truth, it throws you right into their Rumble account, and that's up there now, available for everybody to see. Yeah, before we go there, let's go back to Lou because we're gonna talk about that thing. Lou, what do you got?
What have I got? Well, first of all, good to see you guys again. I'm becoming a regular 9/11 War Room attendee. And Sandra, thank you, sent me a reminder and probably sent it to a lot of people saying, let's use the No Kings March actions as a platform for our T-shirts and our 9/11 Truth stuff. And I did that yesterday in Gainesville. And so just appreciate that motivation. Thank you.
Thank you. I wish I'd known earlier. This just hit my radar, I think, on Thursday. Otherwise, I would have, we would have spoken about it last Sunday as a activism strategy point. This is something that we should all be doing, and we did.
So, yeah, Luke, kind of thank you for the segue on the next thing we really wanted to talk about. Sue, I'll get to you, and Al coming soon. Might as well tackle this since Lou brought it up. The No Kings event. Trina came in last week to let us know about it. We had already known that Soros backed the No Kings event, so it was like, I don't know if we should really trust No Kings, but we did think of it as a great opportunity for activism. So Sandra did put out the email saying, hey, we should take advantage of this. And, we might not agree with everything they stand for, but considering that 9/11 is what it is, we decided we would go. So we just made up a couple cardboard signs, question 9/11, the emperor wears no clothes. My thought is...
Two towers, too. Yeah.
We were there. We went a little late. The crowd was already starting to leave, which kind of stinks. We missed the best part of it, but we did make contact with a firefighter. I took the signs up to the corner. A guy come up. I said, "Did you know a third tower fell?" He goes, "No." I
No,
said,
he said he did.
"Oh yes, he did."
He said, "Actually, I did."
Actually, I did. I'm a firefighter. And we said, "Oh, really?" And then handed them the Calling Out Bravo 7. Said this was written by firefighters for firefighters. Would like you to check out this documentary. He said, "I will do that." And he took Saunders' little quiz, the paper, and it was a good representation. The thought here, if I go back, I'm still concerned. Like on the No Kings kind of concept, these four presidents, every president since 9/11, Bush, Obama, Trump, and Biden, Trump back in it now, they've done nothing significant for 9/11 truth. And I can't let that go. I know I had a lot of hope in Trump doing something. It just continues to decline my hope in that ever happening. So right now, they are the cover-up kings. These are the guys, the commanders in chief. If anybody could declassify information, it's these guys. This is the top of the hill. This is where it's at. They're not doing anything, so I thought we would at least say that. Trump said twice, February 17th, 2016, you will find out who really knocked down the World Trade Center. And then later on Fox and Friends, June 2nd, 2024, when asked if he would declassify the 9/11 files, he responded, yeah. So that inaction makes him the current king of 9/11 corruption in my book.
Oh,
So
especially since just last week, he came out talking again about Osama bin Laden and how he said that he was going to do it and reinforcing the whole official narrative.
And him saying Osama bin Laden blew up the towers. Just like, what are you saying? Like, what's going on here? So that's just infuriating. I would like to talk about this. Also, I forgot. Tucker Carlson's episode 4 came out. Before we jump back into all that, let me just play a clip here of the Dancing Israeli section.
A number of foreign governments may have had foreknowledge of 9/11, but the Israeli government stands out in particular. And here's why. On the morning of 9/11, a group of 5 Israeli nationals purported to have witnessed the initial explosion of the World Trade Center and were seen to be celebrating the event. At the time, the celebrations received quite a bit of mainstream media coverage.
Fox News has learned some U.S. investigators believe that there are Israelis again very much engaged in spying in and on the U.S., who may have known things they didn't tell us before September 11th.
It's striking to see operatives from a supposedly allied country celebrating the mass murder of Americans. But
well, we'll leave that for you guys. Some of you may have already seen episode 4. I liked episode 4. He's got a few things he's got to correct in it. I realize that. But ultimately, it was a fantastic touching base, not only on Building 7, but the Dancing Israelis and Israeli foreknowledge. And now I'll go back to the hands. Forgive me. Sue, what do you got?
Yeah, a couple of things. This Thursday, we have an impromptu meeting on Boston 9/11 Truth to discuss the Tucker files, because I'm finding out some people took extensive notes on it, and I figured that would be good to discuss. So no special guest, just an impromptu meeting at our regular time, 6:30. Just called it last Thursday. Secondly,
that's this Thursday. Sorry, this Thursday, the 23rd, right?
Correct.
All right, cool. Thank you.
All right. Secondly, I wanted to ask you or anyone here, if they have pictures or videos of them promoting 9/11 Truth at their local No Kings event, because that would be good to compile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donate our couple.
And I did go to the one in Worcester yesterday. I arrived, it was at 1 to 3 at Worcester Polytech, the park across the street from Worcester Polytechnical Institute, and circled round and round for miles. No parking. We had thousands in Worcester. I have never seen anything quite like it. It was a huge turnout. A friend of mine did go, but he had the foresight to arrive 2 hours early because he knew parking would be difficult. So even though I failed to attend the No Kings event, I did go this morning to a town hall meeting with our representative at Capitol Hill, Jim McGovern. And during the Q&A, because the whole thing was, how evil Trump is and we need to rise up against him and blah, blah, blah. The whole thing. It was, I'm in a blue state. What can I say? But I raised the question, everything Trump is doing was handed to him by the previous administrations going back to 9/11. That 9/11 really landed us here with the president with unitary powers. The office of the presidency has become more and more powerful ever since 9/11. And this is not what our colonists who, launched the American Revolution fought for. checks and balances. This is what you need to reach across the aisle on that aspect. And I think there are cracks in the MAGA crowd, because the MAGA is Make America Great Again, which is America first, but that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing Americans suffering.
Yeah, I think both sides are seeing that their bases are getting too extreme on either side, and the majority of Americans are saying, "Wait a second, we don't want this anymore. We want a more central."
Yeah, so my point was to stop making it so partisan and start making it more about our people in America.
Yes.
Aye.
I have so much to add, and I don't know if we have anyways time before 5:20, but Gene took a lot of heat when he posted about going to No Kings, because everybody knows him to be, leaning to the right or having supported Trump and whatnot. And I mean, there was a whole bunch of what WTF is this, and what are you doing? And and our whole point is, and if we brought it up last Sunday, I'm sorry, I'm totally blanking out on that. I thought this just hit my radar during the week, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
we mentioned it Sunday and we ignored it.
Okay, oh my God. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm getting to that age. But I mean, but it's anytime you have a chance to go to so this is what I want to say about what we brought. We came across a bunch of people, 6 or 7 of them, and they saw first The Emperor Wears No Clothes, and they were like, yeah, because we had it in reverse on both sides. And obviously we're there, so they think we're part of them, whatever them is, right? And they were all like, and then you can see how then they saw the 9/11 stuff, and then they just had a moment. But they were already in, and Gene was already giving them the quiz and all of this stuff. And but they had to engage because they were already like one foot in the door when they saw our signs, and they wanted to give us the benefit of the doubt because they thought we were on their team, and not that we were not, but we had, like you said, we have to get past the partisan stuff.
So they said, "What's this about?" And I said, "Building 7." And I said a couple things about Building 7, and then I made the flaw. I said, "Yeah, Tucker reported on it," and the lady's face of all happiness just went to total sour. And I'm like, "Yeah, I know some people don't really get into Tucker, but."
So she goes, "I can't do that. I can't do that." I said, "What can't you do? You can't do Tucker, or you can't do 9/11." She goes, "Tucker." So then I said, "Yeah, well, you should know we have also other people like Dennis Kucinich."
That's right. Yes.
So every conversation was different because we reacted to what they said. And the same thing with the firefighter guy. All we had was the 9/11 quiz brochure and the little business cards that have the QR code to calling out Bravo 7 and the Presidential Commission. So when the guy said he was a firefighter, he was about to whine. And I'm like, "Hey, like, you're a firefighter?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, then all the more reason that you should take a look at this."
He said firefighter. We both lit up. Yeah. All right. It's 5:20.
Now we go to.
On that note, it's the time when 7 fell. So I used to use this as an opportunity to say a quick prayer for 9/11 justice. Been doing it for 4 years now, I think. So if you'll just take a moment with me while we do that. Lord, come to you right now. I thank you so much for these people. I just ask you to continue to protect us and bless us as we push for 9/11 truth all these years. We see the momentum changing, and we just pray that hearts and minds are changed so that we could see justice in our lifetime. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
And
I have to add this. I haven't even told Gene this. When I suggested we go to the No Kings protest, I didn't know if he was going to be like really, really happy to go. He didn't say anything. He goes, "Yeah, let's go." Because I figured if I went to see Trump and Butler, then he can definitely go see No King.
It makes sense.
So and that was it. It was just about it making sense. And it was about reaching outside the echo chamber. It's about speaking to people who are already on board with questioning people at the top. And
well, we should take advantage of every single protest. When we were in Spain, we would crash every single protest, no matter what it was about.
Definitely.
And we just go to the group of people, and they're going to see our signs.
100%.
And it reminds me of David Schlesinger. He's always said, "Stop preaching to the choir. Stop preaching to the choir." And I made a quote. I don't know if it's my own quote, but you're not going to grow a movement if you preach to the choir. It's just you're never going to get outside that echo chamber. So
Yeah.
David Schlesinger had a good point there. Thank
Yes,
you,
he
David.
did.
Go ahead.
Where's David anyways?
He's been MIA for a while.
Yeah,
He's out there.
Shows up occasionally on the odd Boston call or even.
It's weird because I think he lives in the DC area.
He's right now campaigning on his job. He is a professional petition signature gatherer.
Okay.
So, when I mentioned the person who went to the No Kings event in Worcester, that was David Schlesinger.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so he lives up there. Okay.
No, he doesn't. He's here on the job.
Oh, okay.
He's here for work.
We'll go to Al. I changed your name from agent. I don't know why you have agent up there,
Because
but
he's a real estate agent.
oh yeah. Al,
Not really, but anyway. Yeah, so I went to the No Kings in Groton, and I was amazed. It was at least 1,500 to 2,000 people for a small town like that. I had never seen anything like it. And I brought a sign which excoriated Trump. I don't even know if I want to repeat it here because people will
that's fine.
pigeonhole me. But a couple of things I noticed, and one, it reminded me of my Vietnam days and protests. And one of the things that I had almost completely forgotten about was the party atmosphere that the No Kings generated. Reminded me of how things used to be in the anti-war days, and it was a great feeling to bond with everybody and to be able to have some good vibes. There was none of the I mean, people were angry, but they were also they had these people and blow up dolls, whatever they were. I don't know,
Yeah.
walking around like a circus.
Yep.
And I went away feeling like, regardless, I had a good time.
I'm
and
good.
and it sort of reminded me of what we could do if we ever generated a crowd, because we sell our message is not a lot of fun. And if we could lighten it up. And I remember there was a puppet group in Vermont that came down to a lot of the demonstrations during Vietnam, and they had all these puppeteers, and it was fun. Anyway, I just started thinking, we have some opportunities to lighten our message and bond with people before we slam them with the 9/11 story.
Yep.
And finally, I did post my sign on our 9/11 Truth website on Facebook, and which at least will show people that we're not all, right wingers. That there are some people that are representing the left, and so next time I kind of chickened out with handing out stuff for 9/11, but next time I think I will do that if I have the guts to do it.
Well, get a double-sided one where you have
Yeah,
one message on the one side and 9/11 on the other.
yeah,
And yes, 9/11 is a bit of a darker thing, but if you focus on the truth and justice part, and especially with the 25th anniversary coming up, where we're thinking it's going to be more of a celebration of how far we've come, and maybe especially by then, reinforcing the whole turning the tide thing. It is something to celebrate, and it's like, yes, we welcome the truth, and there is a way to make it positive, and take the edge off a little bit, I think.
I definitely think we should be riding the wave of other people's protests.
no, it was an amazing opportunity. I mean, I couldn't get when you realize I don't know how many millions of people across the country. I mean, it
It
was
was.
huge.
Can I just?
Yeah, I got a lot of.
Yeah, I know. I just want to say everything I heard was that it was all peaceful. I haven't heard any stories about, so that was great.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Because the left gets accused all the time of being the violent ones, and
Right.
I'm very glad to hear that it just went well everywhere. So yeah, sorry.
All right, John, you're.
Al, it's so cool to hear someone of your age use the term good vibes. Thank you.
John Olson, you're up.
Hey, my turn?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. I took Sandra's advice. I wore my original Expert Speak Out 9/11 T-shirt to the No Kings event in Rockland, Maine, which has a town of about 7,000. In spite of the political limitation, we all know that who sponsored it and where the money came from. So what?
Yeah.
So I went there with that. And I expected maybe 75 to 100 people might show up. I think it was closer to 2,000.
Wow.
It's a pretty small town. It looked pretty mind blowing, and it was hard to find a parking place, but I did. And in addition to the shirt, I carried a sign that I had made previously, a two-sided one. One side is, "What time is it?" Answer, "Time to end the empire." The other side was a quote from Dylan from Masters of War. "Not even Jesus could forgive what you do." Speaking of the war making capacity. So I wanted Sandra to know that I saw your note and I took your advice, and it was quite an adventure. Lot of traffic.
Yeah.
Very cool.
In the lobster capital of the world.
Did you happen to get any pictures, John?
That's it.
No, I mean, did you get pictures of yourself?
No, the last time I took pictures was a 35 millimeter camera about 30 years ago. I don't do smartphone.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And obviously, if you're joining anything, you can't be tone deaf either. If the cause is really not suitable, then obviously you can't just go to every single thing. Like some things are maybe just not appropriate.
Crash somebody's funeral. Hey, 9/11 truth.
Right.
No, that would
Well,
not be good.
But there are sometimes there's events, right? There's conventions of certain things like in construction or in engineering conventions and stuff like that. Seek them out and stand like right at the door when these people come out so that they can see.
If anybody's aware of any big events happening in any cities,
Yeah.
please let us know. That we should start thinking about that. It's definitely a good strategy act.
Yeah.
I saw there was 350,000. I saw 350,000 in New York City, which was a report on that. I don't know. I didn't count them, so I don't know how accurate, but that's a huge turnout. So clearly there's a lot of dissatisfaction with the high-handed approach of this administration. I also wonder, one last thing here, where in the Constitution does it give a president the right to issue these thousands of executive orders? And what's the difference between that and a dictator issuing decrees? Not just this president, but all presidents.
Good question. I don't know the answer. Thank you. We'll go to Bob. Finding your mute button, Bob.
Off mute. Yes, cool. Just real quick note, Richard, for Richard and one of these cross deals. You dropped me a URL for a explanation in 15 minutes of the planes bit, and I actually saw that, and I wrote a rebuttal, and the rebuttal is being moderated, and it's been over a week now, and nothing has shown up. In other words, they've moderated me out of existence. That's my rebuttal did not contain anything like super intense or insulting or anything of the sort. It was simply an explanation of how I see it, and this has been. And I've written to several different websites where people allege to, oh yes, we're open for comments. I comment, my comments disappear. Not cool. I'm getting a little frustrated. So at this point, I'm going to leave off and say, Richard, do you have something to add to this?
Yeah, I haven't seen your comment, Bob. I'm looking forward to it. I get to those comments about once a week or so.
Oh, are you the moderator on that one?
Yeah, that's kind of just me.
Oh, okay.
So was that on Substack or on our website?
Bob?
Yes, okay. Let's just see if I can pull this up.
Oh. Well, anyway,
yeah.
I'll find it and respond to it. Sorry it took so long.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, I'll buzz off here. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
I found that AT&T is dropping a lot of my comments, and they're heavily Zionist.
Okay, Diana.
This is for Sue actually, because you know the Boston did you guys cover the Boston bombings a lot in Boston, obviously?
No, because it's not 9/11. But go ahead.
But it's kind of related because the other day I saw a video, you know, Kash Patel said, we found the killer in 33 days.
33.
That was a lot faster than they found the killer in the Boston bombings, which in both cases is false. And then, so I just saw a video where he goes through again all the falseness of the Boston bombings and how Kash Patel, the FBI, is lying again. You know.
Yeah, that's what the
So
FBI.
that I don't know if Boston 9/11 Truth wants to use that for something in Boston. I don't know.
And it's not directly related to 9/11. So we stick directly with that. You know, of course, a lot of us in the Boston 9/11 Truth have addressed the Boston bombing. And, you know, we'll talk about that. But as a group, that's not our topic.
Okay.
All good. Thanks, Diana. Thanks, Sue. Ross.
Yeah, hi. So I think I might have a good one for in relation to the young people. The event that we had in New York City, of course, there was the King's March, no Kings, and but there was also the annual Broadway Bomb, which is a big race for skateboarders down Broadway, and I've been in that. It's my fourth time. So I know all these guys now pretty well. They're as professional as you'll get, longboard skateboarders, and top 5 in the world always attend that race, and people from all over the country attend. And of course, most 95% of them are all 30 years old or around that age, so they're young. But I've got probably the most well-known board there. That's for sure in terms of the boards. I'm also probably getting well-known for finishing to the end, but I'm working on it. But they're these young kids, professionals, and but the bottom line is, so a lot of people come up to me and they talk about, of course, 9/11, and yeah, it was, you know, it wasn't an inside job, that and the other thing. But, you know, bottom line is, I get talked a lot about it by the younger people. And they come from all around the country. There were some guys who came from Philadelphia, and I got it recorded where they started chanting, where they were, you know, chanting, Philly, Philly, we're in the house, you know, and all this stuff. Well, you know, right as I'm leaving to go up the hill to start the race, they started chanting thermite, 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 thermite. And that's because, you know, the guys coming up to me were saying, nobody talks about, I don't even think they know who Judy Woods is, thank God, but they don't even talk about anything else. It's always about either thermite or bombs in the basement when they talk about it. Of course, 7 though comes up every time too, 7. But when they talk about the towers, it's always, yeah, there were bombs in the basement, or it was thermite. So we've come that far, and now they're doing chants, you know, when I show up saying thermite, thermite, because it's
great. That's
great.
Because you're also infiltrating something else that's not specifically 9/11, but injecting it in there, and people are going with it. So I think this is a great idea.
Well, got a lot of pictures of the people at the race, and you know, I unfortunately forgot to get one of my board there at the race, but obviously I was there, and did finish the race again. But it was tough because we had to, you know, we got put around the King's March. It was dense populated down there in Times Square to get through, but we got through. But yeah, now it's like hey, I wanted to start this race in Death Valley that was, be dedicated to 9/11 truth with these professional skateboarders. So, hey, let's race a few 100,000.
Nice.
Okay. Anyway, that's it.
Thank you, Ross. I've never heard of this. Broadway Bomb longboard race held every year along the length of Broadway in Manhattan. So we were infiltrating No Kings protests, and Ross infiltrated the Broadway Bomb with 9/11 Truth. That's great.
The Truth Bomb.
Pictures and a couple links on their website and stuff.
Thank you, Ross. Lou, back to you. You're muted. You're still
okay.
muted.
Now I'm unmuted.
There you go.
Yeah, it's coalition building, it's organizing that we're swimming upstream. We have been since the primacy effect was put out there by the BBC. The primacy effect is when a logical, plausible explanation is given for a horrific event. People are susceptible to what's called the primacy effect, because the first story that they hear that's plausible, it's given by an authority figure, an ostensibly trustworthy public officials or a BBC reporter or a major network news reporter, and that primacy effect gets sealed into the public consciousness. That's why that Popular Mechanics article was so damaging to the truth. And I know it's been rebutted, but in the public mind, with our short attention spans, and it's 24 years now, it's not been successfully rebutted. And the publishers of Popular Mechanics, I don't know who owns that company, that particular publication, but they should be pressured. Let's get it right. And it's a big club. It's a big club, and they're afraid of change, and they're afraid of contradicting. And this includes Tucker to an extent. Although now he's doing more. I haven't seen any of his 4 episodes, but it's so heartening to see him, speaking truth with power, because he has great influence. Same with Jason Burmis, that was at the Turning the Tide conference. He's got a big following, and of course, he was one of the co-producers of Loose Change, which opened my eyes, and so many others here. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Lou. Yeah, Popular Mechanics is owned by Hearst, and if anybody knows about, I used to know his name, William Randolph Hearst. He's not a good guy back in history, but I'll leave it at that. Thanks, Lou. Steve.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Aye, aye.
Great. Okay, I have a couple comments. First, I
hope you're breaking up a little.
I feel bad now. Sorry.
There you go.
When that lady mentioned the No Kings thing last week, I kind of just was whatever, that's the Democrats. But now it was a great opportunity to reach out to people, so that's good. I also want to say that I saw Crime Scene to Courtroom parts 2 and 3, and it was great. Not the most exciting viewing, but I understand it's formatted to be like a grand jury testimony. And I also saw the first 4 episodes of Tucker Carlson's thing, and I wanted to just comment on that. I would say it was about as good as you could hope for, and it was better than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
He gave himself a little bit of wiggle room on some topics, a little bit of rhetorical wiggle room, but for the most part, I thought it was pretty good. It leans heavily on the CIA foreknowledge, and mostly it's kind of a rehash of the 28 pages and Richard Clarke's testimony in the documentary Who is Richard Blee, and then that one FBI guy from Alex Station. So there's nothing new in it, really, but it was pretty good. Like I couldn't really have hope for anything better. It's the kind of thing that, like, if somebody doesn't know the topic, you can send them this, and it's a pretty good introduction. I would suggest. He interviewed Kristen Breitweiser. there was clips from Michael Schur. Like, these are people who are well known and they've talked about this stuff forever, but it was good. Like, I was like, again, pleasantly surprised. And I would like to say this too, like an analysis thing. Okay. Tucker Carlson is not alternative media. He's the mainstream media. As far as I understand, the only person who was more popular than Tucker Carlson is like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson. I don't even know, is Dan Rather even still alive? I barely remember
Carlson
him.
started. Yeah, we're good. We're going to the Dan Rather. Real quick, on that, losing my train of thought. Tucker is somewhere between the border between mainstream media and alternative. He's on the fence there, it seems like, now that he got fired by Fox. But now
A lot of Republicans don't even listen to Tucker. A lot of Republicans are more conservative and more mainstream, and they don't listen to him.
Yes.
Tucker Carlson is the deep state. Like, literally, he is the deep state. He is like from a CIA family. He is the mainstream media. I don't know why all of these CIA guys have now become very 9/11 truth. I'm not really sure what to think of it, but it's a thing. It's a development. And also, real quickly before I go, I agree with the people saying, like, the younger crowd, anyone under 30, you just show them the video, they're a truther by default. Like, as long as they don't have that, like, taboo
I don't know.
the general public
from that era, they're completely open to the idea.
Not my nieces, not my nephews and nieces.
the general public is waiting for mainstream media to say, "Oh, it's okay to question 9/11 now," and we're just waiting for that to happen. It's not happening. But the closest we have to that is the Tucker Carlson saying it's okay to question 9/11 now. So we're getting leaps and bounds of awareness here. So he's not our savior or our golden child, but he's moving the
He's moving the needle.
moving it. Yes.
Republicans all the time because I'm on the RC committee, and the majority of them do not watch Tucker Carlson. They don't watch Redacted. They don't necessarily follow Marjorie Taylor Greene. So those are like the fringe Republicans now, kind of.
I don't see it that way, but okay. Carl?
Yes. As I think everyone knows, my greatest concern as we approach the 25th anniversary is that the subject of false flag terrorism will never be broached. And everyone knows I detest people calling 9/11, quote, an inside job, almost as much as saying it was a Mossad-only job, because I think there was clearly cooperation on both sides. And Carlson has not gone to use the term false flag, although in other contexts he's talked about false flag terrorism. But one must connect the dots between the type of events that the Lavon affair was, on the U.S. side, the Operation Northwoods document. The Kennedy assassination was a false flag designed to point everybody to the military-industrial complex without realizing the Israeli nuclear and Israeli lobby issues that Kennedy was aggressively involved in. So I was criticized at a 9/11 event back in New York a few years ago for raising the USS Liberty as an issue. But that is probably the single best example. And having attended the last two survivor reunions of the Liberty crew, they've learned from higher ups in the Navy that it was indeed a cooperative false flag event. There were U.S. aircraft in the air with nuclear weapons within 10 minutes of Cairo. And had they not gotten out an SOS that was heard as far away as Vietnam, probably, the Greater Israel Project would have been advanced by decades with the nuking of Cairo that day. So I have taken to wearing, at the last reunion, I bought a couple of USS Liberty hats, and I've taken to wearing them most everywhere. And this morning in a little coffee shop in Alexandria, St. Elmo's, very nice barista she was taking a break and she sat down next to me, and she's got her selection of tattoos and all that to indicate her probable political background, and she asked me to explain the USS Liberty.
Okay.
to explain the USS Liberty. And it's the perfect segue into false flag terrorism
There we
and
go.
then explaining 9/11 as, am I being interrupted?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for you to get back on track. Thank you.
No, well, on track is all these instances of false flag terrorism are pertinent to 9/11, and it is
Yeah, but when
ignorant
I've got
for
a room
us.
full of people trying to talk and you go off on these tangents,
Because it's giving us ideas of how to get
that's
people
great.
to talk about it.
To run a 2-hour show, Diana.
Well, how long have I spoken? 3 minutes?
Yeah, not that long.
Please just okay. Go ahead.
No, I'll listen.
Craig.
Yeah. Hi. I just wanted to mention since we're talking about Tucker Carlson, I was going to bring this up anyway. I've got an AE 9/11 Truth blog post which I had hoped to get out earlier, but probably tomorrow it'll and because I've seen all 5 episodes now, and so I really wanted to see the 5th one before I kind of got a real sense of how the whole thing holds together. And that'll be for anybody that doesn't know about that. It's the URL is 8911truth.substack.com. And hopefully I'll be able to. I was hoping to post more often than I have so far, but at least get to a weekly schedule. But anyway, so number 2 is a little bit long in coming. But I also want to mention that we're going to do Andy Steele and I are going to do a 9/11 free fall this week, maybe even in the next couple of days on the Tucker Carlson thing. We're going to talk about that. And I'm looking forward to the Boston meeting on Thursday to talk about the topic also. I mean, I do want to, I guess since we're talking about it, since I'm talking about it, I do want to at least I want to express my sort of deep concern about this series, and I know that we're all desperate for good news, and we want to see the good in it, and I do see some good in it, especially episode 4. But I think there's a tremendous amount of that's problematic in it, and my concern is that it could actually kind of taint the stuff that talks about Building 7 and everything. Because if people hear that in the context of Bin Laden and Al Qaeda did this, and the CIA did all kinds of sleazy things to try to recruit them, but it screwed up, and then there was incompetence, and then there was torture and all this stuff. I mean, the bigger picture does not really put the controlled demolition angle in a context that I think is conducive to people putting the whole picture together. In fact, watching this, if I didn't know about the controlled demolition, and I watched this whole series, I'd be scratching my head a little bit, saying, "Well, what are you saying exactly here, Tucker? Like, how? Like, who would have put explosives in Building 7, and for what purpose? And how does it relate to anything else you've talked about in the rest of your series?" So I don't want to be a downer about it, and I don't want to be one of these people that, well, if something isn't 100% perfect, so I'm going to crap all over it. I don't want to be that person, but at the same time, I think we shouldn't trip over ourselves to praise this series just because it mentions Building 7 and the possibility of controlled demolition. There's a lot of stuff in there that's really, really problematic. And it really reinforces the official story very heavily. And it just adds in it's basically, to me, it's a combination of the incompetence theory and lie hop, basically, with this kind of asterisk, with controlled demolition kind of in the picture somewhere. So I'm troubled by it, and I think we should appreciate the positives from it, but we should not attach ourselves to this, in my opinion.
I think it's interesting. You say it leaves you questions saying, he went to controlled demolition, and what are you saying here, Tucker? maybe that was the design. I don't know. Hopefully he's going to
Well,
talk about this. Hopefully it's just cracking the egg for him, and he's going to talk about it more. But yeah, that does make you wonder, where do we go from here, Tucker?
Yeah,
like what? Who would have put bombs in the towers if it was
Exactly.
Al Qaeda that pulled the whole operation off? And
yeah,
It begs the question.
you know,
Maybe he left that by design.
yeah. It does. It
yeah,
does.
but I think you give him too much credit if you say that, honestly, Gene. I mean, he's pushing the Bin Laden Al Qaeda did it incompetent, U.S. government line pretty hard through 5 parts. So
Right. But I think if and I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it's almost like the World Trade Center 7 and that whole portion is like this parenthesis that he throws into the mix, and he doesn't bother connecting it to the
yeah,
previous 3 episodes and how it plays in. Um I'm seeing that a lot more clearly now. And but if you're cluing in,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that other people will call him on it and said, okay, well, so you're talking about all this incompetence and let it happen kind of thing. And then, well, what do you mean controlled demolition? What does that have to do with it? So maybe he's going to be forced at one point to address that, because there is this gap of missing connections. So
well,
who knows?
I hope he does. I hope he is challenged. I'm not sure who's in a position to do it. I don't know that that somebody like a Ron Johnson, or somebody like that is going to do that. Um, I think they're gonna. I think Ron Johnson's pretty kind of middle of the road when it comes to he's open to the controlled demolition, but he's not really pushing the false flag aspect of it.
I thought
So now,
public.
one thing that did strike me though is he's throughout when he's talking about the World Trade Center, he's uh, he's quoting from the NIST documents and he's quoting from Halsey's study, which is fine, but like, could he not have had an interview with somebody from the 9/11 Truth Movement
I know.
to respond to what NIST was saying? Like, that seems like a gaping hole there.
Agreed.
And even Kristen Brightweiser, is that right?
You don't know?
Beg your pardon?
I said, you don't know?
I don't know what that means.
You don't know Kristen Brightweiser?
Well, yes, I do. I'm the one talking about her. What's your point, Brian?
You can't remember her name.
Oh, for God's sake. For God's sake. Okay, if I can just finish my point.
Go ahead.
Even she is kind of pushing the government was so incompetent, sort of position, and she mentions that in episode 5.
Yeah.
So
yeah, all the Jersey Girls kind of just stuck to that side. Although they are speaking to our side, as I understand it a little bit. They just and on 8911truth.org's website, they supported it by a signed document somewhere. I can't find that right now, but yeah, so very good. Thank you, Craig. Roy McCoy.
Hello, Craig. Could you send the notice? Could you send the notice of that AE 9/11 Truth post to your list?
Oh, as soon as it's posted, it automatically goes to the subscriber list. So you'll get it. Hopefully, you'll get it tomorrow.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Thank you. And I have a question for Richard Gage, who said last week, I believe, that he was going to contact Harrod and Jones and Ryan about Bob Greenyer's presentation. I was wondering if he'd heard back from any of those authors of the 2009 study and
Yeah,
what they said if they did react.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just got an email from today from Niels Harrod with a direct response to Bob Grenier's analysis of the red-gray chips paper, the 2009 peer-reviewed paper. Bob Grenier is a scientist, does SEM and EDS, X-ray energy dispersive spectroscopy. He found, Bob Grenier did, and in his lengthy video, that the red-gray chips were simply red primer paint, because red primer paint has both aluminum and iron oxide in it and is slightly ferromagnetic. So I didn't get a chance to read Niels Harret's response, but one of the key omissions that he did make me aware of in the meantime, I mean, before I got the email today, was that you put these red gray chips in a differential scanning calorimeter, which is a heater, and they ignite at 850 degrees Fahrenheit. And when they ignite, they produce a whole lot of energy. And the paint chips did not do that. I mean, a lot of energy, meaning proving that it's a luminothermic reaction, response. And when they do, they issue molten iron microspheres with the same chemical signature as the molten iron microspheres found in all the World Trade Center dust samples produced by U.S. Geological Survey and R.J. Lee. So I imagine that he's going to be providing that response in his email, which I got today, which I'm looking forward to reading, and I will publish also.
Okay, thank you.
Richard, do you remember? I think it was 3 or 5 times the force, the energetic explosion that was of the red gray chips that were found in the dust was 3 or 5 times greater than what was commercially available at the time.
Well, the nanothermite's not commercially available, so I'm confused as to what you're really saying there, Mike.
I'm sorry. As I'm remembering it, their nanothermite was commercially available to folks that were allowed to have it, in the military, or they use it on railroad tracks.
Well, that's thermite, not nanothermite.
Not nanothermite, right? But what they ignited in the differential scaling calorimeter was more intense than what was being produced. And
oh, okay, I didn't remember that. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a tidbit going back a long ways.
Okay, and back to you, Roy.
Yeah, I was just going to say that that Grainyard certainly never intended to imply that paint blew up the World Trade Center towers.
Right.
He wouldn't be thinking that.
Good point. Good point. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I saw that email come in at 4:32. I'm like, I can't get through that one right
just,
now.
just one more thing is that I remembered that James Corbett had done I believe, a 4-part series on the history of Al Qaeda, which unfortunately I didn't get around to watching. I figured Al Qaeda was bullshit from the beginning or whatever. So I didn't watch it, but I might watch it now. I'm sure his version of what Al Qaeda is and what it's done is a lot different from Tucker Carlson's, and I bet Corbett's is a lot more accurate.
All right. Thank you, Roy. Real quick before I go to Jane, I did find this. Oh, come on. Give me 1 second. 10 years ago, and that was written in 2020. So 15 years ago, the Jersey Girls courageously endorsed AE 9/11 Truth. And on that article, you'll scroll down and it takes you to the actual letter that they wrote to AE 9/11 Truth back there. And at the bottom, all 4 of them signed it. Patty Casaza, Lori Van Auken, Mindy Kleinberg, and Monica Gabrielle. So, actually, we're missing somebody.
Yeah, I was going to say
Kristen Breitweiler. Monica typically isn't considered
Yeah.
one of the 4 Jersey girls, but she gets in there every once in a while. But yeah, so very cool.
I would like to know why. Yeah, if there's a reason why Kristen is not on that list. I don't remember that article from 2020.
Well, check it out. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that article is not from 2020, but I think it was republished on the website in 2020.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you remember, Richard, why
No,
Kristen Breitweiser was not on there?
No, I certainly don't. But that was 2010 or 2014 or something. They wrote that.
Right.
Yeah, so it was 25 years ago then. Yeah.
15.
15. Thank you. Please, my math.
But
Right.
she's in the picture.
She is in the picture, but they could have used a picture from any time. All right.
Yeah.
Jane?
Yeah, I just one more comment about Tucker Carlson, and there'll be many more to come from all different angles. But I appreciate the concern that people have for the content that or the implications from the way he's presenting some of it. But I have to say, especially with the with version 4, which I did wind up watching, I find that his spirit of questioning is as important as as the concern we have for not going far enough with everything that we know already, or that we have found out. So I just find that really important and valuable, and I think that's going to make it easier for people to open their minds with that spirit of just because he's not. I mean, he does sometimes say this is true or this is not true or whatever, he sometimes, but anyway, you get the point that I'm trying to make, is that I think his questioning spirit is, and serious questioning, is very important.
I like that he asks some rhetorical questions and he leaves you hanging out there, kind of like what we said Dr. Chris
Yeah.
Robinson says. He leads you up to it. He doesn't connect the dots for you. He allows you that room to make.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
We'll see. Thank you,
Yep.
Jane. Point. Let's go to Sue.
Yeah, I just wanted to concur that he's using the Socratic approach, the more journalistic approach, which is I appreciate, rather than a zealot approach. But to co-opt a phrase from feminism, I'm the one I'm waiting for. We don't need any hero worship in the 9/11 truth movement. We don't need to hang our hat and say, good, my job is done. He's doing it now. So don't hang your hat on Tucker Carlson. Don't hang your hat on Kurt Weldon. Don't hang your hat on Ron Johnson. Don't even hang your hat on Richard Gage. Forgive me.
What about
No, bow down and worship. We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
We got work to do.
Yes.
And we're going to always have work to do until this is done. And it's not going to be done by any figurehead. We appreciate those who are raising the question, bring it to the forefront, especially those who never looked at this before and railed against it and looking at this. So it's progress. It's definite progress, but we're not done.
No, but Sue, can I just add, it is all the work that we've done that got us to Tucker.
Absolutely.
It didn't happen.
We are the ones we've been waiting for.
Yeah. So we just continue doing what we're doing, but
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Ellie.
Yeah, no, I really agree with that point that was just made, and then I wanted to add to on the Tucker subject is, I think the question we should really be asking, it's certainly worth critiquing all 5 episodes, but I think the bigger question is not what did he get right or what did he get wrong, is what are we going to do with what he's done, right? How are we going to use his willingness to support us to push our movement forward, as was just said a few minutes ago. That's the question, not to worship him or not to tear it down or focus on where he was wrong, but to say, hey, look, imagine, well, there's really 2 pathways here. One is, is anyone actually going to make an effort to try and reach out to him and see what he wants to do moving forward? I mean, I know Ted Walter has some sort of third party connected to him, so that's one avenue. And the second one is, imagine that Tucker Carlson never says a word about 9/11 again. Well, what are you going to do with these 5 episodes to in our arsenal of tools as we go on to do outreach and connect people and bring the truth forward, right? That's the key. And if we focus on, hey, how can you use this, then I think we'll see the real value in what he's done. I think the real value is not necessarily that he's doing a loose change part two. It's that he is, as was said earlier, getting people to get out of their comfort zone and be open to the possibility that what they thought was true is not true. Because eventually a lot of people go from, I believe the official story, to it was incompetent, to they let it happen on purpose, to they made it happen on purpose. For a lot of people, it's that journey. And he's helping them go in that journey towards our direction, you know? So I think at the end of the day, it's still a good thing, even if they're not always already there.
Thank you. What I heard you say was, how do we amplify this wave and how do we ride this wave? Can't lose this opportunity. So yeah, thank you, Ellie.
It's a big question, though.
That is. That's a good question.
That's a big question. It's like there's no. I was asking Ellie if you had any suggestions in mind, but
we'll come back.
Yeah, we'll come back. Something to think about.
Ross.
Yeah, back to the red gray chips discussion. I would want to say that, and I would hope that there would be peer review on what I'm saying and what I've done myself, which is to say that it's to know what the composition of the red gray chips was in actuality. But another important question is, so with the percentages found in the dust, what kind of surface area are we talking about? How many coats of paint are we talking about? How many coats of paint are we talking about? So I kind of asked myself that question, ran my own numbers, and comes out to be 200 acres worth of that thickness, 3 microns, 3 to 6 microns of paint, which is what the thickness of the red gray chips looks to be in the reports. That would equate, based on percentages in the dust, to 200 acres. 200 acres just happens to be the amount of floor area, 100 acres per. So if you ask yourself that question and answer it the way I just did, it leads you in a direction that's a little bit different than what I think most of us think of in terms of the demolition of the towers. Like, in other words, how to paint 200 acres worth of this volatile paint in the building after they're built, or were they applied in a factory before they were built? So I think that's kind of an important distinction. Hopefully, can give you to back up or dispute, what I just said.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that again, because I'm not sure exactly how you extrapolated what the red grade chips in the dust to being 200 acres, because some of it would have reacted and been burned up. Some of it wouldn't have been, which is what was left over. So I don't know. We'll go. I'll continue that later. Thank you, Ross. Magnus?
Oh yeah, thank you. Great work. I can't believe all the stuff you have been doing this week. Very, very great. I was wondering, Gene, is your computer very troubled, or can you run a few videos?
I'm really struggling right now opening up screens. I fear opening something up. Forgive me, but
Hey,
thank you.
What your question was, Gene? It's about the red gray chips and the amount of iron microspheres that were found in the dust.
All right.
I extract the amount of iron microspheres based on the paint chips, and so it's not just the unexploded, but the based on iron microspheres as well.
Okay. 10-4. I have to think about that one for a while, though. I can't on the spot. Thank you. Lou?
Yes, thank you. Good stuff. I find myself coming back to coalition building again and influencers and the need for connecting the dots between JFK, the USS Liberty, even with Enron involved, the 2008 financial market that was mentioned in The Big Short, which is a film that I think influenced a lot of people to distrust formerly trusted institutions, banks, insurance companies. We know that 9/11 was a multifaceted insurance fraud, with AIG being the insurer of last resort for insurance companies that was bailed out by the federal government. And the last thing, we talked about the woman, I forget her name. You guys are good people, man. We got about 25 people here that are very knowledgeable. It's very impressive. I'm honored to be here with you. But you mentioned we could kind of be leaderless, and then jokingly, not even Richard Gage deserves, the crown, if you will. And but I tell you, Christopher Rowland is my mentor, and I want to put a crown on him and carry his luggage and ride his coattails until the cows come home, because he was the first one to really put it out there for me that it was an inside and outside job, 9/11.
Good point. Thank you. I did want to share something if I could have found it, but I'll come back. Steve, thank you, Lou.
Yes, just a couple quick comments.
Yep.
Without, I'm not a member of anyone's movement. I'm not a member of any movements, and no one has the right to tell me what I have to do or whatever. But I love you guys. No one in my family or friends, they've been listening to me talk about this shit for 25 years. They don't care anymore. They're sick of it. So I love coming on these calls once a week because you people are just as obsessed with this topic as I am. I want to reiterate my point that the Tucker Carlson thing, it's about as good as you're gonna get. Thank God. It's
For now.
been 25 years. We're all old people now. It was great. It's as good as you're gonna get. And like I said too, I think the younger people, they all more or less are on board as far as I can tell, because they don't have the taboos. And someone mentioned this a couple of months. Okay, so for the last 6 months, I've been doing these calls again. Someone mentioned truth and reconciliation. I hope that crime scene to courtroom thing. Do I want a grand jury? I want any legal thing possible for sure. But at this point, I'm kind of just a historical reckoning, right? Just a truth and reconciliation committee, I think would be fine with me, I guess. So that's all. Thank you. I look forward to these calls. That's great. Thank you all.
Thank you, Steve. Diana.
Yeah, I was thinking the last time I saw Tucker Carlson in person was at a Turning Point event, and then he spoke again at another Turning Point event, which I didn't go to. But I just looked it up. The next event he's going to be speaking in person is another Turning Point event. But that seems to be the most common places he speaks. So I don't know if we could somehow go to one of his events and have signs outside of one of his events, or somehow get him to speak publicly more. I don't know.
Do you know where the next one is?
Yeah, I just looked it up on Grok. October 21st, so it's very soon, in Indiana, Bloomington, Indiana. He's going to speak as part of Turning Point USA tour.
Yes.
Okay.
And then October 31st in Glendale, Arizona, as part of a Tucker Carlson live tour featuring President Trump. Those are the only two I got, but there's probably more, so we could maybe plan. Go to one of his events, show up with signs and.
Somebody mentioned in a recent conversation with Tucker about the importance of being face to face with people. And he agreed with that and says, yes, I would like to go back to doing that tour event that I was doing so I could be face to face with people. So that's great. If he opens himself up to the public, that gives us an opportunity to get in his face. So that's good. Good idea, Diana. Thank you. Sue.
Oh, I'm not there. I am. Okay. Just getting back to the thermite. to have endless discussions as to whether or not thermite could have accomplished the job. Let's remember it wasn't just thermite. Of course, there was a lot going on. I mean, thermite couldn't have blown those steel beams outwards. There were charges and all kinds of things caused. It was a multifaceted event. So I just can't see the point in trying to figure out, could thermite have accomplished the whole job? No. And I think, most people here would agree that there was evidence of other methods of destruction in the towers.
Aye. Can't agree more.
Yeah, we've been saying for more than 15 years that high energy explosives were clearly involved in hurling those 4-ton and 8-ton structural steel sections out and away, as Mike is just demonstrating.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think the thermite
was doing the dance.
Yeah.
And I think the thermite was really the igniter. It wasn't the main explosive. It exploded the main main explosives. It was the igniter. But there was thermite and thermate in other parts of the building in the theatrical, falling in the first parts of the buildings, like we saw with 7, the way 7 came down. It would have been cutting charges in those, and that would have contained a lot of thermite, potentially thermite paint too, the cutting charges. So the paint, if there's a lot of it, like the iron Myers indicates, would have been the igniter, not the actual explosive.
Multiple methods. Thank you. Mike Cook. You're muted. You're still muted.
Still
Am I unmuted?
There you go. Now you're good.
Yay. You don't always have to speak. Sometimes you can just do
Right,
this. Steve, I think, was saying that Tucker is all you're going to get. And I just, was reflecting on all of the beginnings we have had in this movement. We've had so many beginnings. And, David Ray Griffin wrote 12 books or more. Maybe it was 13. I forget. 14. Stephen Jones discovered the nanothermite. I mean, Tucker speaking out. This is another beginning. It's not all we're going to get. We're going to go all the way. We have to. We don't have any choice. I'm not sure I'm going to live to see the end, but I'm very happy to be around for all of these beginnings. Thank you.
Yeah, right on, Mike.
Nicely said.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't stop fighting until the fight is done. Right on. Thank you. Craig.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something to what's on the same subject as what Mike just mentioned. Kind of a comment on what Steve said about, this is as good as we're going to get. And I just wanted to remind people that over the last 2-3 years, we've had some very high profile people that have come out openly challenging the 9/11 official story without all of the official story baggage thrown in there, that we got from Tucker Carlson. Like I'm thinking, obviously Jimmy Dore, who's not really, he's not a mainstream, and he's not the traditional mainstream, but Candace Owens, Benny Johnson. I mean, there's a bunch of them, right? Even Joe Rogan has sort of expressed, So I just want to make the point that, like, yeah, we want to get Tucker Carlson's visibility. We want to have that, but there are a lot of other people that are quite willing to take on the the controlled demolition side of things, and basically our stuff, without it being wrapped up in a Osama bin Laden did it, package. So it's, like I said before, it's like, yeah, let's take the good, let's see what good we can get out of it and see what we can use to open some more doors. But let's not just sort of think this is it, like this is the best we can do, because other people have done better than Tucker Carlson did, and in terms of at least being willing to challenge the story. What Tucker Carlson did very well is he got into all the evidence for the shenanigans going on behind the scenes, but he kind of brought them in. He created a conclusion really that is not as helpful for our cause as it could be. So there's lots of other people that we can get it. We can get to sort of carry this torch. We don't have to depend just on him, I guess is what I'm saying.
Very well said. And also, you reminded me on that Kristen Gasparini article, if my computer will ever do this. Come on. It's really struggling. Sorry, Magnus. I'm definitely not going to be able to do videos of it. The Chronicle of a Collapse foretold, he said, was appeared in Covert Action Magazine. She also prepared a treatise, however you pronounce it, well thought out plan for massive change. And if you go and check that out on her Substack, she started listening. Some might
Listening.
Yeah, thank you. Valuable insights to how to execute the plan according to their area of expertise. And some of these people we've already met out with, but I think this is my list of people that I'm going to try to reach out to. Like you're saying, we don't have to depend on just Tucker Carlson. I mean, Catherine Austin Fitts, Whitney Webb. Like, there's a lot of names in here that she put together. It's fantastic. We've already contacted some of them, but there's a long list here of people. I'm working on Ian Carroll. You guys got Jimmy Dore. We got James Corbett. Like,
and the Gonzo's already on.
Yeah, he's already on board. But this is a great list she put together. We're going to start to email all these people and get them. Yeah, let's not give up.
Yeah, actually, I'm glad you reminded me of that, because we didn't post the article on the 8911 Truth site, but we did put like a link to the article, like a little announcement of the article with a link to it. I think it was last week, and in that we included the link to the video where Andy Steele and I interview Kristen for the Dawn of the Truth conference. So if you want to sort of see her live, well, live, I mean, on tape or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they don't call it tape anymore. It's not tape anymore. I'm dating myself.
Yep.
On that digital stuff they do now, the young kids are into. Then you can check out you can check that out, because it was an interesting interview. We did it at 3 a.m. Eastern time, so I wasn't as you won't find me as sort of perky as in that interview as usually I am, but Andy's in Pacific time, so he was able to handle it okay.
Right on. Thank you, Magnus.
Yeah, thank you. Did you ever try to call the booking service for Tucker now Joe Rogan? In the link I have resend it in the chat. It's a booking service you can call and book for Joe Rogan.
We could try that. I have not. Did you put it in this chat too?
Yeah.
Okay, I will follow up on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And going back real quick, this is just funny. I would have ended on this, but it was kind of humorous. I know everyone says, we can't hero worship. We're doing what we can. We're all doing it. But in talking about kings, like nobody's a king. I just got to point out one king that we still got on C-SPAN. Still, the #1 video after all these years, 1,101,090 views. #1 above who? Donald Trump. So our king, as far as C-SPAN's concerned, is still Richard Gage on C-SPAN. So I just find that humorous. All these years, it's still the #1 video. That's great.
And let's give a little tip of the hat to Andy Steele's role in that whole thing, because he was the guy that organized that whole campaign to call into C-SPAN that got them so annoyed that they finally gave in. So
yeah, I mean, I love that. Where they're like, okay, all right, what do you want? What do you need to do to?
What can we do to make you go away?
And that was it.
That was just an amazing campaign, because it wasn't just him. I think he encouraged a whole bunch of.
He organized it. He organized it, but he had some volunteers that made calls too. He was kind of the coordinator.
A lot of people called in. Isn't it still their most watched video?
Yeah, right here.
That's what he's talking about.
It's still 50,000 views.
Still.
The next #2 is 50,000 views lesser, and that's Donald Trump. So, and then Nancy.
Amen. Why isn't Andy on these calls?
I don't know, but all good.
He's popped in from time to time, but maybe he figures I'll report back or whatever. I don't know.
All good.
He doesn't want to be bothered.
No, all good. All good.
Well, I won't, I won't comment on that. But...
Yep. Mikey Perazzo.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good.
How's the pup?
Oh, she's great. I'll see if I can get her on video. We've been inseparable since I got her. I went out to dinner at the place that I took you guys to, and I brought her with me on the patio, and she loved it. She just sat there. So,
Got a new
anyways,
golden retriever. Right on. Very good.
yep, I adopted her. So I was actually having a conversation, so with this is 9/11 related, just so you're
Okay.
aware, but so this guy that I know through cars lives on Long Island, and he was talking about the New York City mayoral race, and it was like a picture of like the plane getting ready to go into the South Tower, and there was a caption saying like, "Oh, I can give you 3,000 reasons not to vote for this guy," or the whatever his name is, who I'm talking about, the opposition to Curtis Sliwa. So all I said was like, man, like if that's like, I said, I agree with you. I also want Curtis Sliwa to win too, but that you're just drinking the Kool-Aid on like what all happened there, man. Like this it was an inside and an outside job, and then we got to talking, and he was like, I want whatever you're smoking. And it's like some of these people. Then I was having a conversation with another friend of mine who's a car guy who knows it was an inside job. And I know that term isn't, liked among some of the group here, but I'm just using it because it's easy to say and flows off the tongue well. But he was saying like some of these people are so like they got their blinders on so hard that like you almost don't want them to take the blinders off because they might go like postal or something, Do you know what I mean by that? Like they got their blinders on so much that like if they were to take their blinders off, they might like go postal or something because they don't want to believe it. You know what I mean? And what's weird is like when I was talking to him, I was like, okay, well, it just came out recently that Oswald was not the shooter on JFK. He's like, oh yeah, well, I agree with that because the science and the trajectory and blah blah blah. I'm like, well, what about the science on 9/11? Like, it's all there. All the evidence is there to show that this was not the way it went down. Oh no, jet fuel does melt steel, yada yada. I'm like, oh my God, man. And then basically the conversation just ended with, please don't talk to me anymore, and I don't agree with anything you're saying, and yada yada. And it's like, man, these people are just totally clueless. There's nothing you can do to wake somebody up like that that's been drinking the Kool-Aid for so long, nothing.
Yeah, give some energy to it, but don't waste too much energy on it. If this person is just not going to budge, you could better use your resources to get around to separating the wheat from the tares. So,
but yeah, it's just nuts. Like it's just, I don't understand it, man. I do not understand it.
It is nuts, and you do have to choose your battles, right?
Yes.
If somebody's mind is made up.
Yep.
I had that recently with a gal I know who was going to enter the Marines. She's in week 13 now. It's about done. And I wanted to try to convince her, no, don't do this. You're wrong. But her mind was made up. I didn't even try. It's just like, go ahead. You're going to do that. That's your choice. You self-determination. Go ahead.
Yep.
Good luck.
Dissonance is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, for sure. But then the other guy that I was speaking to, I'll try and get him on here one day. He's hardcore and all that stuff, the truth stuff, like, and I think I don't know how much of an asset he could be to the activist movement, but it would sure be cool to see another face. I mean, a lot of times we see the same people in these chats, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it'd be, cool to see one more that none of us have ever met,
Right. Very good. Thank
That's
you,
all
sir.
I have to say.
meet new and interesting people every day, but I have Alzheimer's, so.
All right. Anybody else have anything to report for this week for everyone else? We do have Boston 9/11 call. Some ones coming up here.
So this week is that impromptu call on Tucker?
Yes, be there this Thursday 6:30. Other calls, if you want to write these ones down that I have. October 30th, John Cool on the last 30 seconds. November 13th, Dan Noel. November 25th, Bob Runyon. December 11th, Mark Rossini. And January 8th, Nelson Martins. Any updates to that, Sue or Al?
There we go. No, but I'm still working on civil amendments.
All right. Ooh.
Could I add one for the 9/11 and other deep state crimes teleconference, Gene?
Yep.
It's not this coming week, so I'll probably end up mentioning it again next Sunday.
Okay.
But we have Xander Arena coming on the 29th, and he's going to talk about his Pentagon research. Which, if you didn't see the Washington conference, I highly recommend you check out, because he dips into two key areas. Not only the video, which he goes back like 3 years doing his analysis of the video, but just his more recent analysis of the lack of sufficient damage to the building that to account for 757. So it's quite well done. So please come and check him out on the 29th. And if you aren't subscribed to us, it's 911teleconference.substack.com. You can go and check out all our agendas and videos and things on that page.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Any things to share? Events coming up? We still have anybody from TAP on here coming up? I think they have one on Tuesday, the TAP Talk. Steve?
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what I've said before. The Tucker Carlson thing was pretty amazing. This has become mainstream, and that guy at the conference, I can't remember his name. He was the guy that did the final presentation the first night.
Aaron
He
Good.
basically said that. I'm sorry.
Aaron Good?
Yeah, maybe. I met him briefly. He did the speech basically saying that like 9/11 Truth is now a social movement in the same way that like the civil rights movement of the 1960s, or I would say the religious right movement of the 1980s. This is now very influential. People can agree or disagree with me. I believe that Tucker Carlson is what you call the deep state. And the fact that he is pushing so hard on 9/11 Truth is a very interesting development that I personally am not even quite sure what to make of it, but I think it's a positive thing. And that's all. And the other thing, just a fun comment. I love this call because like all my friends and family are like so tired of listening to me talk about 9/11. This is like the only place where there are people like as fanatical about it as me. So thank you. I really enjoy these weekly calls.
Thank you, Steve. I just want to say for the record, I do not think Tucker is limited hangout. I know there's people in the chat saying he's limited hangout. I know people have their own convictions, but I try to be more of an optimist. I was very much an optimist about Donald Trump, and just now I'm finally going, okay, you guys were right. He's not going there. But for strategy, I'm going to continue to push forward with hope that things, and I know people are afraid of hopium, blah, blah, blah. But I'm trying to, this is the war room. We've got certain strategies on trying to push this needle forward and move forward, and we got to take the avenues where they are. I agree with Craig. We got to be critical of these avenues, but we can't shoot everybody in the foot that's trying to move us forward here. So, yeah, take that for what it's worth. I don't know.
No, we got to push them though. We got to push them to go beyond where they've gone so far.
Yes, thank you. Let's do Jack, and then we'll go around the room. So go ahead, Jack.
I agree. Tucker is not, I don't think he's a deep state or any of those things. He's just a very talented broadcaster who's had a lot of talent for many decades. And he's coming around to the truth. So I don't see anything suspicious there. And the fact that we're getting people like that, I know my family has just dismissed all this, except for one. Stupid. They won't watch the videos or anything. But
See, they won't even watch it. That's crazy. That's
oh yeah. But anyway, Tucker's saying this. Oh, he's saying it. Well, that is enough to make them think a little bit and open up their minds a little.
Since I got you, Jack, anything else for the group?
That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Jack. Brian Good, anything for the group? Nope. Good to see you. Alfred Magaletta. You're muted. There it
Sorry
is.
about that. I was muted. No, I think we covered most of it. I'm sort of tapped out on the events over the weekend and sort of made my position. So, but I love this show and what you guys do, and hope we got more coming. So, thanks.
Thanks, Al. And just hats off to you for still making it out to these events. It's cool. Right on. Mike Cook?
Hey, are we doing a show here?
I don't know what you want to call it. I always struggled on that.
Yeah, me too. Do we say the podcast? Do we say, I mean, I guess
We're just
round
meeting.
table.
Round table.
I'll get dressed up and put on a performance.
No suit and ties here. No.
No, not a whole lot to report here. I went to I donated $45 and went to a bowling fundraiser for my local firefighters here a week ago, Saturday, and I list, I wore the firefighters for 9/11 truth shirt. Got mixed reactions. Some people are like, yeah, some people are like, ooh, and I just left some stuff and my cards, and I got to get back to it. I'm hoping to hit all of Northern Kentucky firefighter stations, and then cross the river and get into Ohio and hit all fire stations over there. And somebody asked a question, the QR code for the Bravo 7, is that available on your site, on the War Room site?
I'll make it available. I
Is
have
it not under the Presidential Commission?
That's what I got, was the Presidential Commission, which I felt kind of embarrassed leaving because it's so pale, but it's something, and everybody was pushing for that. But yeah,
I'll send you
more
some. Yeah.
more easily accessible stuff that I can get out there would be great.
Yeah, I'll work on that. QR code.
Or he can send you the template and you can
Yeah.
order your own.
Yeah.
Isn't the QR code on the business cards?
It is on the business
It
card.
is.
I'm going to send him a copy of the business, the proofs on that, and some links, and yeah,
Right.
you can use it to print out stuff.
Thank you for all your great work. I can't even begin to compete.
No, there's no compete. I appreciate, for anybody that doesn't feel like they could go out with a sign and stand there, that even that's too much for them. That's fine. Some people just aren't. It's not their thing.
It's
But-
not our thing either.
Yeah. You have to push yourself out of circles of comfort. But the first step is wear a t-shirt and just walk around. You don't even have to say anything to anybody. Just walk around. They're watching your t-shirt. They're definitely checking your t-shirts out. And somebody will come up and say, hey, nice t-shirt. And that's when you have a business card or a flyer in your back pocket and say, hey, check this out sometime. Like, that's all you have to say. And that's the first step for getting out of that shell.
Yeah.
I
And
think they call that grassroots.
Yeah. Yep.
It is grassroots. I mean, that's exactly what happened yesterday. At one point, we had to, because we parked in the parking lot of the Target, and so we had to go out through the Target to get back outside. And I'm just standing there, and this young guy, early 20s,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
he walked up to me and he says, I noticed your shirt. I like your shirt, or some interesting shirt, something like that. And he says, but I can't talk about that stuff.
because I'm still in school.
Because I'm still in school, right? And but university, of course.
University,
Yeah,
yes. Yep.
And I said, what do you mean you can't talk about it? And so we just had a discussion. He still seemed to think that it's something that's not good to speak of, and that you're going to be. And I said, I told him, I said, you might be surprised and you should give it a try. But he was on board. And he appreciated the fact that we were talking about it.
It was really cool because he finished what he's saying and says, you can give me some pushback. Like, he was expecting a good discussion here. Let's flush some of this out. So, and then we walking away said, you should ask questions, ask your teacher questions, push the envelope a little bit. So he said, we'll see. Jane.
Yeah, just on the subject of what other people might respond to in terms of, I have had a RFK Jr. Sticker inside my rear window, and only one person in the past year has ever approached me once, I think in a Whole Foods parking lot. Anyway, so I'm not so optimistic about that method, but I'm in a pretty restricted area in the greater Boston area. And secondly, only just to say that in some respects, I look forward to this meeting every week, and in some ways you are my extended family at my age, approaching mid 80s. And so, anyway, just bless you all for the work you're doing. It's so thoughtful and so much open debate and disagreement that's respectful and all of that. It's fabulous. It's a good, I don't know, a good ground from which we can proceed with all the different ideas we have to keep this more visible and expanding it. Yes, thank you.
Bless you.
Bless you, sweet.
Bless you.
We love you too.
Thank you. JB.
I'm good, thank you.
Thanks, JB. Good to see you. Magnus.
I'm good too. Thank you to everybody and keep up the great work.
Thank you, Magnus. How was your birthday last week? Did you have a good...
Thank you to everybody here who said congratulations to me, and yeah, that was very great, Gene. I got a lot of stuff, and I was actually able to show them 9/11 crimes in the courtroom. So they are watching it and following it up and waiting for episode 5.
Excellent. Good job, Magnus. Thank you.
Thank you. You guys are the best.
Let's go to Craig McKee. You're there?
Sorry, I'm here. Yeah. No, I'm good. I think I've said everything I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Richard.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm about 80% of the way done through the rough edit of episode 5, and keeping our editor going in Australia. This is the episode that goes into NIST's refusal to test explosives for explosives, and after denying that they found no evidence, then they admit they didn't ever test for it. Then we go into the witnesses of explosions, and that's a pretty juicy episode. So prepare for that. The first 4 episodes are available to watch on our website, 911c2c.org. Not river to sea, but letter C, number 2, letter C.org.
Right on. Thank you, Richard. Good to see you as well. Diana.
Yeah, you guys should. You're not posting on YouTube, right? This show, you posted only on Rumble, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking about redoing that on YouTube now with the...
Because they seem to have loosened up, and maybe edit a little bit, because you're kind of like redacted. A girl and a guy, a couple. It could become a big hit.
Thank
you
you.
know?
Try. I am thinking of trying to do a stream again. I tried on X, and it just like it was such a pain in the butt.
Well, you could take these videos, but just edit it a little bit to make, cut out any parts that are,
Yep. Thank you. Great idea. I appreciate that. Ross.
Yeah, hey, so I'm going to be a little bit on my attendance for the next month or so. I'm getting ready, starting the next phase of construction on the Twin Towers, and the 30 is out of concrete. I'm kind of going through some important stuff there. But I would like, in terms of our relationship to the younger people, try to also learn more about the history of the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s. I know a lot of us focus on more the 90s. That decade is when things got really going at the World Trade Center. But I think that there's plenty of evidence that shows that the thing started much earlier than that, and even as back as World War II. So it's good to keep track of that history, and I'll see you guys soon.
Right on. Thank you, Ross. Bob. Bob, you there?
I think Roy switched on
Yeah.
camera.
Let's go to Roy.
Changed.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything that can't wait. I can ask Gene and Sandra at least if they're aware of David Hughes and the 3 camps of 9/11 awareness.
No, I'm not. David.
Oh, interesting. I may talk about that next week.
All right. Thank you. I'll look it up.
It was the 3 what?
3 camps.
Camps. Okay. And is that an idea thing? Is that an article? Is that
It's a concept. He talks about it various places. He actually picked up the concept from some Dane who calls himself Chaos Navigator. I think he has a Substack, and Chaos Navigator actually originally presented the idea, I think, in 2010, and he brought it back recently. I don't even know if I think Chaos Navigator did bring it back in relation to 9/11, and David.
Did he just?
Is he dropping again?
That's nuts.
Crazy. That's crazy.
It wasn't us, Roy. If you're coming back, oh well.
No, drop out and he has to come back.
Sue, anything for the group?
No, I think I've said too much already. I'm getting myself in trouble with one of my bosses, Richard Gage.
Thank you, Sue. Chuck Fall. If you're there.
Yep. Hey, I'm here. Have a great week, everyone. I've just been kind of tracking, and yes, there's a TAP Talk tomorrow, Tuesday. We don't have a special guest. We are going to talk about the digital protests in the UK, and the newsletter will be coming out soon, and it will have links with some information, and we're going to debrief on the emerging techno-totalitarianism.
Aye. Thank you, Chuck.
Right.
Carl.
Yes, I want to comment in the context of, I think the last meeting or the one before, someone was trying to assert that they could decide who was a team player or who wasn't. And I just want to express that the USS Liberty survivors have been waiting since 1967 to be acknowledged, and their experience is directly pertinent to 9/11. And they are part of the team. And one should not be shut down when they're speaking, that there's a connection there, that we should work with them. I mean, just recently, Candace, of course, interviewed Phil Turney. I'm in text message contact with Phil. And I think Ron Johnson needs to be pressed that really you don't open the door to what really happened on 9/11 unless we go back to 1967.
I agree. We should, and forgive me if I just didn't seem I was seeing the connection there. But yeah, if there's the USS Liberty survivors and that we should definitely try to build a bridge with them. So I appreciate that comment. Thank you. Back to Sue.
Yeah, I just wanted to elaborate on that. I've tried to get Phil Turney but I've gotten no response. And if Carl can reach out to me and help me get Phil Turney as a guest speaker, I'd love that.
We can work on
Well,
that.
if you
Who are
could
you
text me,
looking-
Susan.
What's
What?
the name?
Phil,
I'm sorry.
USS Liberty survivor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're on borrowed time with that one because they're getting so old now. Yeah.
Yeah, get on.
If anybody has a connection to him, email Sue, SUE, SERPA at gmail.com. And Bob, you're back. Anything for the group? He's getting there. Got to put on his spectacles. He's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Not really. No. You go ahead on doing what you're doing. I've been just listening for a bit here.
Right on. Again, you could tell people if they want to tune in, they don't have to participate if they're shy. They could just listen in. And yeah, it's really laid back, just round table that we meet once a week to share information for the previous week. So I think that was it. Did I get everybody in the room? I think I did. If anybody hasn't, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Yes, I want to speak. Yes. I love this call. You guys are great. It was great to go to that conference. Tucker Carlson is like obviously the deep state, and like why this stuff is coming out now is something I'm not quite sure about. And whatever, I'm kind of interested in other people's opinions about this, but it's interesting that now I'm not a part of we. There's no we. I'm not a part of your movement. I'm just an interested observer. And also, I'm kind of curious, like, why some of you people are even involved. You had nothing to do with it. That's confusing to me. But hey, whatever. At least people are talking about it now, I guess. So thank you. And I appreciate the calls. Thank you. That's all.
Thanks.
I'm curious, Steve.
Hey, hang on.
Why are you not in the movement?
I just want to respectfully disagree that I think Tucker Carlson is deep state. I don't think he is, but we politely disagree there. All right, go ahead, Mike.
Hey, thank you. Steve, why are you not in the movement?
Valid question.
If you agree with everything we're doing here and you're so enthusiastic.
No, because look, you guys, dude, like I love this call. I loved meeting some of you, Gene, Sandra. You people were like the nicest people. Richard Gage was like the nicest guy ever. I got to meet that other guy. Like, you guys are great. I love you so much. I really do. But I ain't your friends. I don't know who the hell you people are. And you have nothing to do with 9/11. You weren't there. So, like, like, why are you involved in this?
Some people
Are you like,
to investigate truth. It's just like our genetics.
We are directly affected by these events because the political climate has been really seriously affected by this whole thing.
Yes, good point.
yeah, and I don't mean to be, I don't mean to be disrespectful or hostile because I really, really like appreciate what you guys are doing. But sometimes they're like trying to drag you into this and that. And like, this guy was trying to say, oh, you have to be against the immigration thing because of 9/11 truth. And I'm like, nah, not really. And also, like, uh, I didn't vote for Trump. Okay. But like a lot of people I know and a lot of people in my family, they're big pro Trump people. I don't dislike them. And I don't appreciate them being like demonized as some sort of like terrible people because they happen to like one politician or the other. But I do think, and I should apologize for this, like the whole no things king last week that I think I made a mistake about that. Like, if you're a Democrat, you should totally go to that and do that. But like, there's no 9/11 truth should be like a specific thing, and don't get your other stuff involved because I
Well,
could
Joy,
drive a lot of my. I'm sorry. That's it. Thank
That's
you. Thank you.
exactly what a lot of us say. I mean, it's the laws of physics, all right? It's physical evidence, it's chemistry, and wherever it goes from there is fine. Let the chips fall where they may.
there's typically two camps. There's the purists that say we should just stick to 9/11 and nothing else. And then there's the camps like Truth Action Project, which is also respected, that we should build bridges with other topics to get outside of our echo chambers, to not preach to the choir. So I see validity in both. Um, I tend to lean towards focusing more I rarely, you know, I do color outside the lines a lot, but I'm going to contradict myself now. So I don't know. Wherever you can find a way to make a connection to 9/11, I think it's a good idea. But as far as why do we do what we do, I'm just going to quote George Bush: "You're either with us or you're with the terrorists." Jane, what do you got?
That's perfect.
I on the issue of whether Tucker Carlson is deep state or not, there's two parts to this. There's a quality of his communication to me that is authentic, not contrived or manipulated by, the deep state agenda. So I agree with Gene on this. I think I lost my other train. I thought there was another train of thought. Anyway, yeah, just let us keep an open mind and continue with our inquiry, our ability to not know what is true, and to just, I don't know, that, I guess, I thought there was another thing, but I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Yeah, we're going to be open-minded, and yeah, we'll see where the chips fall as time goes on. Thank you. Brian?
I am here legitimately. I was in Manhattan on 9/11 and I knew people who lost people. And it took me 4 years to come around and recognize that there were a lot of unanswered questions.
That's a great idea. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, we didn't have to be there to have a lot of questions and wonder why these questions aren't being answered. Thank you. Good point. Roy, you could finish we didn't cut you off. I don't know why that happened, but if you want to finish your thought there, and then we'll wrap up.
Well, it seems to be happening so regularly, and Sandra was wondering why it was me that it was happening to, and I don't know, but I think it's probably more for me than for anybody else. And if what happened this time was I not only lost the connection, but it totally messed up my computer. I had some weird thing up in the left-hand corner that was totally impossible. I couldn't do anything. I had to reboot. But I don't want to, it's not about me, but my uncle pretty much confessed to me he was involved in 9/11, and I was looking at the old emails from back then, and I noticed I was pumping him to tell me about 9/11, and he would never do it. So maybe I know that there's been surveillance of my computer and stuff. But maybe they whoever's surveilling or monitoring, maybe they think he told me something. Maybe he might have told me something, and I might let it out. He didn't tell me anything. If they don't believe me, they can keep cutting me off. I don't know, but that's the most likely explanation I can think of at the moment.
All right. Well, that was it for the day. You got anything, Sandra?
Well, just a couple of quick comments. Why get involved in 9/11 Truth? I mean, there's no shortage of causes out there and people fighting for all kinds of things. And for some reason, there's something about the particular cause that people pick up that is compelling to them, and it speaks to them. And of course, 9/11 happened on our watch. You know, why did we decide we have to do something about it? I don't know. It's just this urge and this itch and this need to address this and expose it. And it's just an urge to do it. I don't have a better explanation for it. And it could have been anything else, but it was that. So yeah, I'm sticking.
It's the most important thing. It's like the tip of the iceberg as far as lies. You know?
I always say it's the domino that needs to fall. And it's the easiest to prove. And if you can bring down 9/11, then you can bring down a whole other, set of things. But so that's it. I mean, there's obviously a bunch of people who watched it happen and were maybe even there and maybe even think that it was an inside job of some sorts and don't feel the need to get involved. I don't know. They just want to live their lives, I guess. And the other thing about about Tucker being CIA or deep state, this is, I think, this human need to label and box things and fit them neatly into little shelves and drawers, and it's all black and white, and it's this, and if it's this, it can't be that. And it's a title, deep state, CIA, whatever that means. Maybe he was at one point and he transitioned out of it. Maybe he still has, he still knows people in the CIA. Does that make him deep state? No, not necessarily. He can still speak his mind. So it's a lot of gray. And I don't know how you, and there's this need to, we find comfort in labeling things like, because then we have a definition for it and then we can make a whole bunch of deductions from it. It doesn't, who cares? Who cares? At the end of the day, all that's left is what he's doing and saying and putting out there. That's it. And what he does behind the scenes, well, if it turns against us at one point, we'll deal with it. If he hasn't addressed everything, and that's what I wanted to say to Craig also.
Go ahead.
What?
No, it's once we get through this, then we're going to end
okay.
it.
And to Craig, I wanted to say when you're talking about the pushback and you somehow referenced Ron Johnson to call Tucker out on how far he got, I wasn't talking about the bigger names. I was just talking about the public. At one point, I think that there's going to be that reaction, and it's going to be come in increments and from many, many different directions. He's going to get that sense of like, yeah, I addressed the controlled demolition and that doesn't fit into all the other stuff that I presented. And I'm hoping that that's going to be enough for him to, if he was unaware of it, that he had this disconnect, that he needs to get back to it and connect it better. It didn't have to come from
I would just question then, like, I mean, he and a whole team of people obviously spent, as it by his own description, months working on the series and working on looking at thousands of documents and all this. And his conclusion at the end of that was that bin Laden and Al Qaeda attacked the United States and that the United States government was a combination of negligent and incompetent and with a lot of darker motives too in responding to it. So just because whether he's deep state or not deep state to me is a separate question. He can be is what he's saying going to lead to positive things for us? And I'm definitely not convinced that it is, because all this stuff about Building 7 is getting wrapped up in bin Laden did it, and that's something we have to be aware of and concerned about, because that not just we don't want crumbs of truth and just sort of be so thrilled that we've got, like, he threw us a crumb. We need to make sure people don't get the wrong, that this doesn't actually work against us, let alone not work for us, like to be actually a negative. We want it to be a positive, and I'm undecided whether I think that the positives outweigh the reinforcing of the official story. That's what concerns me.
Well, in part, it's going to depend on how it continues, right? It's going to depend on the results that come from it. So
Well, we'll see if if he listens to what people say. I hope he does.
Yep. Thank you, Craig. Let's go back to the hands and then we'll wrap up. Steve?
Like, I really want to push back on this narrative. I really do. Okay, Tucker Carlson is just some dude. Okay, he's from this wealthy family. He's CIA. His family was CIA. All his friends are CIA. They're all part of the same thing. Of course, he's deep state. Now, like, and I also don't like. It was like meeting that one guy. Like, these people are sociopaths. They don't believe what they're saying. They just make. I am not a friend of Tucker Carlson. I do not care about Tucker Carlson. His video was awesome. It was great. The best you could hope for. I am so happy that they did that. And I totally endorsed like Tucker Carlson's video. It was great. The 4 episodes that I saw were freaking awesome. And I'm glad that he's doing this. Okay. And I'm not sure what that means. But come on, I'm not gonna think like Tucker Carlson all of a sudden is like some great guy and he all of a sudden like changed and he didn't know back in those days. They knew. Come on. This is not he's just another it's a propaganda thing. It's good and I'm 100% for it. But come on, let's not
Why is it good though,
bullshit
Steve?
ourselves.
There's so many.
Why is it good? You keep saying it's good, but what's good about it?
Because no one cares. We're all a
Why
bunch
is
of
it good?
we're all a bunch of old people, and no one gives a shit about 9/11 anymore. And this is about as good
disagree.
as it
I
gets. So
disagree.
thank God for somebody.
Right. I gotta stop there. Steve, I don't know what's going on here, but if anybody's raising flags of being deep state, I just don't understand how you could say you go to go to our event and you agree with us and you love the show and you love what we're doing, and then I'm not part of you and I'm not a part of your movement. And Tucker did great and a great show, but Tucker's deep state. And it's like there's so many contradictory things here with you. I can't put my finger on it. And we'll just leave it at that.
Well, you
No,
know
no,
what? Hey,
no, I don't want to hear anymore, please. Sue, go ahead.
Yeah,
Steve Anderson.
am I unmuted? Yeah.
You're good.
Okay. Let's look at the history of Tucker. He had a cushy job with Fox. You know, he was sitting pretty by his own standards for a long, long time, and then the axe fell.
Mm-hmm.
The axe fell. Now, what do you think probably went on in his head? Oh my God, I've been betrayed. I've been betrayed. Wait a minute. Where else have I been betrayed? Maybe. I'm not saying that's what went on in his head, but maybe. Because we're seeing a totally different Tucker Carlson now. Something went on that exploded in his head.
Sue, can I just add to that? Tucker started changing while he was at Fox. Like he was saying stuff that he had never said before on his nightly Fox show. And I mentioned one last week, and I'll mention it again. He went into the whole Las Vegas shooting, and in a way that was like, oh my God, he's like basically saying the whole thing was a fake, which is quite shocking. So his transformation predated his firing, and I think the firing maybe came because they felt they'd lost control of him or whatever. I don't know, but
also question COVID,
you know,
was in a big way.
yeah, COVID changed a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Well, those were kind of MAGA type things like pro-gun, you know, that they're doing a false flag on these shootings, and the COVID, of course, you know, that was very much in line with the right wing to question COVID. So I'm not sure that was really the new Tucker yet.
Well, I mean, to challenge a shooting like that, I don't think it matters what the people were using the information to like what they were doing with the information. I mean, if the shooting was a fake, and if the guy that was accused wasn't really the shooter, that's a pretty big story, regardless of why, right? So if Tucker was questioning that kind of thing, I mean, I don't know that you need to be right wing to question the Las Vegas shooting or COVID, to be honest. I think a lot of people on both sides of the aisle would.
The way he approaches journalism it seems different too. He's less rabid and more Socratic, journalistic than he had been before.
Yep. Forgive me, everybody.
I would agree.
Before I go to you, Jane, I'm removing Steve. I removed Steve from the group because his last comment, I got to read this. LOL, I have to laugh at this meeting. Like,
No,
he just
and
got
I
done
have to laugh at
praising.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. You personally, you seem like a great guy. You were super nice. So is wife. But you are skeptical in such a weird, obvious way. I would say that to Steve. He's so skeptical in such a weird, obvious way. It almost makes me suspicious of you. Of me, like I'm the suspicious one. Like with everything he's said and done, and all his examples of being part of the group and not part of the group, and everything I just said before. Steve, when you watch this afterwards, I still think you're on the bubble. I haven't figured you out yet, man. I don't know what's going on with you.
There's something off.
Something's
I think.
off. Yes. Jane, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I just want to say that on the theme of guilt by association, I'm in my mid 80s. My father died in 1969. He was a founder of the Center for International Studies at MIT. And I didn't know that he had some I don't know what level of connection with the CIA. However, the Center for International Studies at MIT was funded by the CIA, apparently. Anyway, I didn't. Anyway, because I grew up in a, what do you call it? What do I call it? Um, intellectual supremacist um, uh, um, culture. And anyway, so I'm sorry. I thought I had my point more well articulated. But just to say that in relation to Tucker Carlson, I don't know the details of his father being associated with the CIA, but in the theme of how we can change our minds, how we can have a turning. JFK had a turning around the whole, just the Vietnam War. Anyway, just want to invite people to leave room for not fixating too solidly on deep state, whatever it. My father, I think, had a humanistic intention. He was an international economist and wanted to raise the, whatever. So while I was late coming to that association with a deeper level of stuff, I just want to say that we don't know. We have to leave open people's ability to change their minds and to open up their hearts to what is needed to help this chaotic world. Yeah.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
And the last thing I'm going to say is Steve's last comment, quote, "Why the hell are you in charge of the quote unquote so-called 9/11 truth movement?" You had nothing to do with it. One, we're not in charge of the 9/11 truth movement. There's nobody in charge of this this ship of merry pranksters or whatever you want to call it. There's just so many different views that, we have this war room, which is a roundtable discussion where anybody of differing opinions could come and talk to each other, as long as we remain civil. And what Steve just said there was not civil. So, Steve, if you want to come back, if you watch this later on, you keep doing that, you're not going to be welcome in the war room. So that's all. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for the conversation. Have a good evening, great week, and we'll all talk next time.
Thank you.
Time.
Thanks, Sandra.